Congressman John Robert Lewis was born in Troy, Alabama on February 21, 1940, to sharecroppers Willie Mae and Eddie Lewis. He is known for telling the story of preaching to chickens, but the boy from Troy, as he was nicknamed, went on to become a revered world leader and fearless advocate for voting rights. Organizing sit-ins in Nashville in 1960 and becoming one of the original Freedom Riders, Mr. Lewis joined the movement for civil rights and never looked back. As the chairman of SNCC, he served as the youngest speaker at the March on Washington in 1963. In 1965, alongside Reverend Hosea Williams, Congressman Lewis led a march for voting rights across the Edmund Pettus Bridge in Selma, Alabama, where he endured violent attacks by state troopers and vigilantes. Mr. Lewis fell to the ground with a fractured skull, and 5 months later, President Lyndon B. Johnson signed the Voting Rights Act of 1965 into law. On the other side of that bridge, Mr. Lewis marched on into a life and career of activism and public service. He lost his first attempt at running for Congress in 1977, but was appointed the same year by President Jimmy Carter to the Director of Action, a federal agency for volunteerism. He then won a seat on the Atlanta City Council in 1981 and 5 years later ran for Congress and won. So much of the conversation about Congressman John Lewis has been about his activism, but he stood on so many legislative accomplishments, including sponsoring or co-sponsoring more than 1,100 bills. One of the most notable bills gave us the National Museum of African American History and Culture in 2003. He served as the subcommittee chair for oversight for the prestigious Ways and Means Committee, and after the retirement of Congressman John Conyers, became the dean of the Congressional Black Caucus. In 2019, he presided over the House floor as Congress passed H.R. 4. Since his passing, the bill was renamed the John R. Lewis Voting Rights Act, which was adopted by unanimous consent. Before being admitted to the hospital, Mr. Lewis stood in the heart of Black Lives Matter Plaza. He took his last breath on July 17, 2020, but his legacy lives on in all of us.